Have you ever been handed a team and suddenly felt like everyone was watching your every move? That feeling is completely real, and these new team leader skills are how you're going to handle it. I'll show you what great new leaders do differently in those first nerve-wracking weeks. If we haven't met before, my name is Jen, and I have 20 years experience in developing leaders and individual contributors to grow their interpersonal skills and be more effective. So this is coming from real experience, not a motivational poster. If you're getting value from this, go ahead and hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this video. So let's dive into our topic. First up, we've got self-awareness. And I'm putting it first on purpose because it's the foundation of everything else. And I know self-awareness sounds like the kind of word that shows up on a corporate poster next to a stock photo of people high-fiving. But stick with me because this is genuinely a make or break. Self-awareness just means knowing how you actually come across to other people, not how you think you come across. Those are very different things. Have you ever heard the phrase that perception is reality? This is where this comes in because people's perception of you is what they believe is reality, even if they're wrong. Here's why it matters so much when you're brand new. The second you become the leader, your words carry more weight than they used to. A comment you'd toss off as a joke as a teammate can land like an order now. And in fact, I heard an example from my CEO that said he was having a casual conversation with someone. They brought up an idea. He said it sounded like a great idea, and they took it as direction. So it happens. Also keep in mind, as a leader, a bad mood that you'd normally keep to yourself can quietly set the tone for the people in the room. People read their new leader constantly and they read everything. So early on, ask yourself simple questions. How am I showing up today? Am I the calm one or the stressed one right now? When you understand your own habits and triggers, you stop accidentally leading on autopilot and start leading on purpose. And that's something that I tell my leaders all the time. You may be great instinctually, but when you intentionally act, you are way more effective. So the next one we're going to talk about is empathy. And this is the skill that turns a boss into a leader people actually want to follow. Empathy gets a bad reputation sometimes, like it means that a leader is soft or letting people off the hook or weak in some way. But it doesn't mean that at all. Empathy just means that you take the time to understand where your people are coming from before you react. That's it. You're still going to hold the standard. You're just going to do it like a human being and not an impersonal rule book. And honestly, this is your secret weapon as a new leader because people will forgive you for a lot of rookie mistakes if they can tell you actually care about them and you're trying your best. If you miss a detail, fumble a meeting, mess up the schedule, they'll roll with it as long as they know that you've got their back. So when someone on your team is struggling or acting out of character, resist the urge to assume the worst. Ask what's going on first. Half of the time, there's a reason you couldn't see, and the simple act of asking builds more loyalty than any pep talk ever could. Empathy isn't the opposite of high standards. It's how you get people to actually care about meeting those high standards. And if you're finding this information useful so far, hit that like button. It really helps more people to discover this video and get this information. And make sure you drop a comment and tell me about which of these skills you feel like you already do well and which ones might scare you a little. No judgment. We've all got that one that keeps us up at night. All right, the next skill is clear communication. And this one fixes about half the problems new leaders run into. Here's a hard truth. Most team problems aren't people problems. They're communication problems. If someone didn't do a task the way you wanted, there's a really good chance you weren't as clear as you thought you were. As a new leader, you've got a picture in your head of exactly how things should go. The mistake is assuming everyone else can see that picture too. They can't. So you have to say it out loud, clearly, specifically, and more than once. What does done look like? When is it due? What matters most here? What is the standard of quality that we're trying to meet? Spell it out to them. And also, don't be afraid to ask them to repeat back what they're hearing, just so that you can make sure that your thoughts have come across clearly. Another thing to keep in mind is clear communication isn't just talking. It's also listening, maybe even mostly listening. The best new leaders ask more questions than they answer in those first few weeks, because that's how you actually learn what's going on. So you set clear expectations and then check in that they actually landed. And don't be afraid to say a quick, just to make sure we're on the same page. What's your understanding of this? That's going to save you way more headaches than you can imagine. Clarity is actually kindness. Confusion is what stresses everyone out. All right. Number 4 is delegation. And for a lot of new leaders, this is the single hardest one on the list. It sounds easy, but it is not. Delegation means handing work off to your team instead of doing it all yourself. It's a simple idea, but brutal in practice, because the reason you probably got promoted is that you were great at doing that task, doing the work, getting things done. Your instinct is to just keep doing that. You know what it takes to be amazing. So it's really, really hard to step back and potentially let someone else who maybe isn't as proficient as you are to actually do the work. Think of it this way. There's only one of you. If you insist on doing everything yourself, you become the bottleneck for the entire team, and they're stuck waiting on you, and you're going to burn out. It's not an if. It will be a when if you are doing everything yourself. So learning how to delegate effectively isn't about being lazy or dumping the jobs that you don't like. It's about giving people clear ownership of real work and then actually letting them do it their way. And that's probably the hardest thing is they're not going to do it the way you would have done it. And trust me, I've been in this situation. I've designed programs that I felt were like my children, and I loved them so much, and I saw them grow and become effective. And then because of the nature of the work that I do, it was time to let someone less experienced take over those programs so that they could learn and grow as well. And it was so hard to do that and watch them change things that I wouldn't have changed. Trust me, it's hard to let go. I get it. So, a practical tip here. Start small. Hand off one meaningful thing this week and resist the urge to swoop back in and take it away. Your job as a leader isn't to do all the work. It's to build a team that can do the work. So, quick break. If you're looking for resources that will help you as a leader to continue to grow your own skills, I've put together resources for you. Check in the description and the pinned comment to get those resources. All right, the next skill goes hand in hand with delegation, and it's building trust by not micromanaging. So you've delegated the work. Now comes the test. Can you leave it alone? Micromanaging is when you hover over every little task, check in every 5 minutes, and basically redo people's work for them. And I get it why leaders do it. You feel responsible. You're nervous. You want it perfect. And you want to show everyone that you were the right person selected to run this team. But micromanaging quietly tells your team one thing: I don't trust you. And nothing drains a team's energy faster than feeling like their leader doesn't trust them or doesn't believe in their ability to get the job done. Building trust works the other way around. You give people room. You let them own their piece. You make it clear that you believe they can handle it. And then you're there if they need you, not breathing down their neck while they work. Think back to the best boss you've ever had. I'd bet good money they trusted you to do your job. And the worst one? Probably treated you like you couldn't be left alone for an afternoon. Be the first one. Trust is built in the small moments where you choose to back off and let your people prove themselves. All right, our next one is giving feedback, both the good kind and the harsher kind. A lot of new leaders are terrified of this one. They avoid hard conversations until a small issue snowballs into a large one. So fix that. Feedback is just information that helps someone do better. And when you frame it that way, it stops feeling like fighting. Let them know that your intent is actually to support them, not that you're trying to point out ways that they're doing things wrong. Positive feedback is the easy way of giving feedback. But the weird thing is that a lot of new leaders completely forget to give positive feedback. When someone does great work, tell them specifically, nice job is fine, but the way you handled that frustrated customer was exactly right. Actually teaches them what to keep doing. Praise the behavior you want more of. Giving positive feedback actually is a developmental tool that you can help with your team. The corrective feedback is the part people dread, but it's a gift when it's done with care. Be direct, but be kind, and focus on the action, not the person. For example, this report missed the deadline, and this is why it's so important that we have it by this time. Lands a whole lot better than saying something like, I can't believe you missed the deadline. Do you not know how important this is? So make sure that any corrective feedback is really focused on the behavior and maybe explaining why that behavior is important to the team's success, the company's success. When it comes to corrective feedback, give it early, give it privately, and give it like someone who's on their side, because you are. And by the way, if you're getting something out of this, drop a comment with the toughest part of being a new team leader for you. I read every comment, and the most requested struggles might just become their own detailed video. All right, the last skill on our list might be the most important of all. Lead by example. Here's the truth that humbles every new leader eventually. Your team watches what you do far more than they listen to what you say. You can talk about hard work, accountability, and a good attitude all day long. But if you show up late, dodge the tough jobs, and complain about everything, that's the standard you've actually set. What I like to tell my leaders is that You are what success looks like. So, if you do not model the way of how to be an effective partnering team member, then whatever you are modeling is what you're going to receive back. So keep that in mind. If you're the one who stays calm under pressure, owns your mistakes out loud, and treats people with respect, even on a bad day, you give your whole team permission to do the same. You don't have to be perfect, and please don't try to be. That's exhausting, and guess what? No one believes it anyway. You just have to be the example of the culture you're hoping to build. And that's how respect gets earned. It's not from your title, but from you actually being who you are and getting the work done. So here's your starter kit for being a great new team leader. Self-awareness, empathy, clear communication, delegation, building trust, giving feedback, and leading by example. You're not going to master all 7 overnight, and you don't need to. Pick the one that felt most like your weak spot today and just work on that one this week. Small, steady steps. That's how good leaders are actually built. Quietly, over time, one decision at a time. And if you want to know more about other leadership skills that you need to be more effective, watch this video that's queuing up.